Hello friends, I am Narendra Kondaji. I am in charge of knowledge management team at COFP Bangalore. At COFP, we are launching a series of videos, and this series is called the Star Performers of the Month. The host for this show is our own Neeti Trivedi. Over to you, Neeti.
Hello friends, I'm Neeti Trivedi and I welcome you for an interview with 3-star performers of our July event called Harry Checks In at COFP. I'm a chartered accountant and a certified financial planner and a founder partner at Acumony Consulting LLP. I also hold the position of a treasurer at COFP. Before we actually begin the interview, let me briefly introduce you to the Council of Financial Planners, or COFP in short, because we may have some non-member viewers. COFP is a non-profit organization and has qualified CFP professionals as its members. Briefly, COFP's vision is to collaborate amongst financial planners, to educate and empower the consumers in order to bring out the relevance and usefulness of financial planning process in order to meet their life's goals. Legally speaking, COFP came into existence in February 2013, but it had a long legacy of more than 8 years when in the beginning, few early qualifiers began the journey. For more details, kindly visit our website www.cofpindia.org and our Facebook page COFP India. Since inception, we have been holding monthly meets to provide our members an opportunity to share knowledge with other members, knowledge pertaining to our profession, our practice, products, and some related topics. This forum is recognized by FPSBI India too for awarding continuous education points. Since June 2014, we have upgraded the quality of our activities too. From a single event program, it is now evolving into a multimodal event and involves many members who take active part in it. A knowledge management team headed by our member Narendra Kondaji is in charge of rolling out the programs. These programs combine fun, camaraderie and learning. For July event specifically, 3 of my colleagues, Uday Dhoot, Vikas Agrawal and Saurabh Bansal are the stars and will be playing key roles in presenting the program to the members. Let me briefly introduce you to these members. Vikas Agrawal is the Head Research and Advisory at Procyon Financial Planners Private Limited. He is an MBA, a CFP and a CFA Level 3 candidate from the CFA Institute USA. Saurabh, an IIT Delhi and IIM Lucknow alumni, is the founder of FinAtWork, a financial planning and wealth management company. He has worked extensively in the financial outsourcing industry across US and Europe before taking the plunge to be on his own. Uday is the Deputy CEO of International Money Matters Private Limited. He is also the Vice President and founding member of the Council of Financial Planners. Uday is a CFP and a CIPM and CFA from the CFA Institute of USA. In a tradition set last month, we endeavor to bring out the personal side of the pivotal people. For July, I have taken up the role of an interviewer to talk to the 3 stars of the month. Let us see what they have to say about themselves in the course of next hour or so. Join me in talking to them. Let's have some fun. Welcome Vikas, it's great to have you with us. Why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your family, your education, and what is it you do currently.
Thanks Neeti. So I belong to a business family. My father is a businessman and my mom is a homemaker. I have been very actively involved with my father up till my graduation, helping him out in his business affairs. Otherwise, I was born in a very small town of Bihar and I did all my schooling from my native only. After my graduation, for my graduation I moved out to Allahabad and then I pursued my higher education and now I am here in Bangalore for last 3.5 years. Currently I am working with Procyon Financial Planners. I am heading the role of research and advisory and I have been here in Bangalore for last 3.5 years. I enjoy this place this has been a very good experience for me so far to be here.
Wonderful. Do you have any siblings or you are the only child?
Yes, I have 2 siblings and I'm elder of them, elder of all of us, I mean 3. So my younger sister Pooja Agrawal, she has completed her BBA from Rajasthan, and my younger brother Rohit Agrawal, he is some 21-year-old and currently he is in his BBA, pursuing his BBA.
Great. Because it will be nice to know something about your childhood years. You said you spent a large part of your time in a small town. Now, of course, you're living in a big city. So, tell us something about your childhood. How was it with your siblings and family? Some incident perhaps that you remember that you would like to share with our viewers.
So in my small town, we were not having too many English boarding schools. So it was a typical Hindi medium school, and I would like to name it. It was Saraswati Shishu Vidya Mandir, and but it was a real learning for me, because in those years, it was a small place and we all were like Hindi medium students, and that is what I for the same school I studied from the very first day up to my 10th. I was studying in the same school. So it was not like a typical guy will face the problem like every year or 3 year or 4 year. Their friends are changing. So whatever friends I got the very first day, they were there with me up to my 10th.
Are you in touch with some of them?
Yeah, I'm in touch. So some of them are now here in Bangalore. So, and they are married. So I like to visit their place, eat their homemade food. So it has been a good experience. When I go to my native, the time I meet some of my old friends, that is the time when I really feel like I am visiting to my native. So it has been a very good experience for me so far.
Because you mentioned a while earlier that your father is a businessman, and I understand that you worked very closely with him before you moved out of home for graduation. So tell us something that you learned while working with him, something that is useful to our viewers, which we can incorporate in our businesses as well.
Okay. So that in fact the years what I spent with my father in our family business were the years I learned most about any business for that matter. If I compare what I learned in my B school, so I will give higher weightage to the learning what I had with my father. So, and that was a time when I was very young and open for almost everything. So if for any kind of experience, it used to be a first experience. So even if it is not a very good one, you are always open for it. And so in those years, it was like in a joint family structure, you have role for everybody. Starting with a young guy of 5 years to your elder person, even up to 80 years. So I used to work very closely with my father and with my other relatives. And one of the things that we always kept in mind, that businesses are not done for a day or an year or for 10-year kind of a time. It is done for generations. The business where I was participating, it was not like first time my father started or I was trying to establish something from the scratch. It was like an ongoing kind of affair. So there I had to perform, and I learned many things like how to give benefit of doubt to people, because that was one of the learning, that if you have to be there in business, you have to deal with the same people on a daily basis. So if I just go around and find out the truth, then I may get the truth, but I may not be able to run my practice for very long.
So Vikas, one of the things that you mentioned was that one needs to give a benefit of doubt to people. Is this something which you implement in your current practice as well as a financial planner? Where let's say somebody comes to you and says that I want to get a plan but I don't have money right now. So give me a 2-month credit period and I should be able to do it.
Yes, in fact, Niti, if you want a relationship and you think that it may not be a very good or very much beneficial for you or making sense for you today, but if you think that it is going to make sense in the future, then you have to do it, because the time if you don't give benefit of doubt, it ends there only. So there is no way forward with that particular relationship.
Okay. So let's move on, Vikas, now to your college days. So I understand you did your graduation in Allahabad and then you did your MBA from IIM Gurgaon. Tell us something about your college days. Were those the fun days or were you the serious, studious kind of person?
It was whole lot of fun in my MBA days. In graduation, I was not very consistent in my college, so I used to spend most of my time in family and business, other things. But in my MBA, I had real good time because it was a very diverse group of friends from all different background, different parts of India, and they were like, and we were in a hostel, college hostels. I enjoyed those 2 years more than I studied in those 2 years, if I conclude.
Wonderful. So on a more serious note, because there's a lot of hype about MBA, so do you think your stint at B school was worth it, or on-the-job experience is good enough for somebody? Why should one do an MBA?
Niti, I had a lot of learning related to business working with my father, but there were so many other areas where I was lacking so many other skills. As I told you that I started my schooling days in a very humble kind of background. So from there I had to learn so many soft skills and I had so many ideas in my mind, but I never knew a specific term for that. For example, in marketing, you know that we have very simple terms like this is something called the strategy, or this is something called segmentation, targeting and positioning. So we always applied all these concepts in our business, but just by running it, you will not be knowing that okay, this concept is called you have a particular term for it, and there is a specific science behind it. And these are not very new concepts. So I came across knowing, okay, this I used to apply, and okay, this is a well developed concept for this, and then when my skills and this knowledge, when I started connecting with it, then I became more confident and I started really enjoying it.
Okay. How did the opportunity at Procyon come by? Did this happen after your MBA while you were looking out for a job?
After my MBA, Niti, I taken some time before I got into employment. So I had some 7 to 8 month kind of gap, and meanwhile I moved out to Mumbai. I was staying there and I used to write some of the small certification programs, because in MBA what we studied was more kind of strategies, and that are global in nature.
What was your specialization in?
In finance. So then I wanted to learn more about the Indian context, and then I started taking small papers. Some of the time it was from NSCs, NISM kind of papers, so I could understand the Indian working environment and how Indian exchange work. So I did that, and meanwhile I was looking for a job, but I was not very keen of going for a very rigid kind of a arrangement where I have been given a specific profile, and whatever I have to do or I have to think, it has to be only pertinent to that profile. So I was also keen of applying all the concepts that I had learned. So I was looking for a stage where I can apply most of my skills, and that is how I came in connection with Mr. Narendra Kondaji, and then I spoke to him, and I personally went to him, and we had a very good interview. In fact, that was one of the longest interview.
How long did it last?
It went for 7 hours. When I entered to his office, he given me a kind of case, and he was asking Vikas, okay, please make a financial plan for it. And I started doing that, and I taken some 1.5 hour for making that financial plan.
So you weren't a CFP then? You had just done your MBA, and based on that knowledge, you made whatever you could.
Basically, I had registered for CFP. When I was in Mumbai, I used to go to NSC Center and write exams. So I had one good friend there, Mr. Anil. So he was suggesting me, okay Vikas, you are good in writing all these modules, you keep coming, why don't you write CFP? So I told, okay, let me see what it is, and then I went through the CFP curriculum. I thought, okay, this can be a good go to start my career at a particular, in a particular way. Then I got registered for CFP. I had written one paper when I met Mr. Narendra, and this is how I made a financial plan, and I came to him and I presented it. Then he kept on asking questions and I kept on justifying my ideas. I don't know how much he liked, but
Definitely he liked you. That's why he hired
yeah,
you, right?
subsequently we had one discussion. So he answered me that Vikas, in fact, he didn't like many of my ideas, but he liked the spirit, the way I was trying to put my points before him.
So how long has it been with Procyon now?
Officially, Procyon was my first company where I joined for my employment, and now I'm going to complete my third year now in another few days. So it has been very, very good experience for me.
And you're already heading research and advising. So wonderful. Okay, there's one question I want to ask Vikas. Now you've done your MBA, you've done your CFP, you're also going to complete your CFA perhaps very soon. So do you think it's one's career path which should drive education, or is it the education which should drive the career path? So how did it happen for you?
Talking from a completely business point of view, Niti, because businesses are like a small child. So there are times when you cannot teach all discipline or all manners to a small child on the very first day. So when I joined my company, I felt that, and the kind of 100% energy anybody will have is too much. So I felt that if I put all my 100% energy in business, my boss will throw me out. So that was for sure. So what I did is, because for a startup kind of company, it takes time, because you have all sorts of constraints for resources, for human power, and there is a given ability of trying things. Beyond that, you cannot try. So I thought, okay, let me put most of my energies to business, and other than that, take out some energy and put that in some studies part. So this is how I got into CFA. So I was working for company in daytime, and with left energy I used to come back and just burn it, and it was a good affair. So it kept adding value.
So you were working and you were studying. What else were you doing? How did you de-stress or disconnect from work and studies? So basically, if you have any hobbies or ways in which you can have fun, can you share some of those with us?
So in my hobby side, first of all, I love my friends, so I always like to and keep looking for the opportunity I can meet them and I can talk to them. So you may see that every day I am coming back to home and I am calling one of my folks and just speaking to them about, and that also depends. If I am speaking to a guy who is more keen on politics, so I'm just like that, talking about politics for half an hour or 20 minutes. So other than that, I love to watch short movies, and now that we have places like YouTube, I understand some of them, I don't understand some of them, but I always try to derive some meaning out of it.
Let's get to a little serious question here. So you pursued your CFP a while ago. Things have changed, especially given the regulatory scenario, etc. So what is your outlook for this profession? We keep getting calls from people that whether we should pursue this course, with what objective in mind. So what would be your advice to a person like that?
Okay, so regulatory environments are challenging, no doubt about it. Regulators in India, the kind of legal arrangement we have, they have all ability to give surprises to professionals. So that part is very well taken. As far as CFP is concerned, so I believe that you may have so many courses. In fact, now that I am in CFA as well, I am pursuing my CFA. So, but the kind of personal touch and the kind of broad points you can touch upon is available with CFP is very unique. So if you want to be active in business where you are dealing with individuals, you are dealing with money of individuals, then CFP is one of the good go. But now that the environment we have, just by having CFP, you cannot become an investment advisor.
So because I think it's been a good professional journey for you over the past 3 years. What is your professional ambition? Where do you see yourself, let's say 10 years from now?
Niti, my plan is very simple, in fact, and it is like I don't have one for as long as kind of 10 years. But my idea in this case is like whatever work I am doing today for my client, it should have a very long lasting impact on their financial lives. So even today when I talk to a client, I must highlight some of the line that, okay, for example, Mr. X and Y, you should understand, you should learn this particular concept because finance is going to be a major part of your life and you have to deal with it. Currently you may be only 40-year-old and you may have another 40-50 years to go, and I may be there tomorrow, you may be in the same city, same country or somewhere else, and you have to deal with money. In that case, you learn this concept in a way that you can handle it for your life. So this is how we have been looking. Do something today that can have an impact for next 10, 20, 30 and so many more years.
So because you spoke about the fact that people need to understand the concept. I understand the concept here we are talking about is financial planning, considering that all of us are financial planners. So we keep talking to people about financial goals. What to you are the 3 most important goals in your life, financial or otherwise?
One of the goal that is now on my prime target is how I can become more and more efficient, which can free up a lot of time that I may have. So now that time is only 24 hours. If I become more and more efficient, then I will have some more time and I can pursue other things and add value to many areas. So that is one. Second goal that I am seeing, basically I am very optimistic about the future of India now going forward, the kind of government we have in center and the kind of changes are going to take place. So I also want to become part of this growth. I want to contribute in this growth as much as possible. So this is second one. And to tell you the third one, I really want to build a very good practice, a good business which can have something or the other for all sorts of stakeholders, for investors, for advisors and for a society at a large.
So because we are financial planners and we keep harping about financial goals all the time. So for a moment I want you to believe that I'm a planner and you are a client and you have come to me and I ask you, because what are the 3 most important goals for you, financial or otherwise? What would your answer be?
Niti, I will not be able to share some of my financial goal because I have not made him very crystal clear by this time. But as far as goals in life are concerned, so first of all, at my professional side, I want to use and apply the knowledge that I have gained in so many years, because what I believe that application of knowledge is not at all a simple thing. That is one. Second thing, I have been away from my family now for many years, so I want to stay with them. I want to become a better son for my parents. That is second part. And the third part is I want to see a time where people are not very concerned with finance and they have ability of pursuing their hobbies and their abilities. So for that we need a stronger financial system and overall development. I want to become part of that movement.
don't come across as a very materialistic person to me. So I'm going to ask a question through a story perhaps. So let's assume you find a magic lamp somewhere which you scratch and a genie comes out of it and says that ask me any one wish and I will fulfill it for you. But he also puts constraints that you cannot ask anything for the society and it has to be a materialistic goal for yourself. What would that one wish be?
I should get an opportunity of asking such wish on a daily basis.
Vikas, it was great to have you with us here today. We got to see a side of you which otherwise we would not have a chance to see. So thank you so much for sharing your personal life with us, and we hope to see you sometime again. So wishing you all success in your future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Niti. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Saurabh. It's great to have you with us
Pleasure.
here today. We all know of you as someone who's highly educated, but we know very little of your personal side. So let's use this opportunity today to understand a little bit of your personal side as well. So let me start with the obvious question that we want to know a little bit more about your family, your education, how your professional life has been. So why don't we start with that?
Sure. I spent early part of my childhood in towns where there were no power cuts. Imagine 1970s and no power cuts. That happened because my father was in electricity board. I am the youngest in the family, so got a lot of attention from my parents, from my elder sister. I used to be pretty happy-go-lucky kind of guy, not too focused on studies. That was until class 10th, which is when I set my eyes on IIT. I made into IIT in my first attempt, went to IIT Delhi for engineering, and quite predictably followed up with an MBA from IIM Lucknow and was looking westwards. I spent a couple of years in Europe, followed by in US in financial outsourcing industry until my urge to come back home took over. I'm married. We've been recently blessed with a baby. He's 6 months old. My wife is a true life partner. So she was part of this entire decision of moving back from US to India. And I started Finet work almost 3 years back.
So Saurabh, you've recently become a father. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How has life changed post the baby? Because I'm told that your entire life and perspective changes after you have a child. What has been your experience?
You know, I remember whenever I look into my baby, I remember my childhood days. I used to be a very curious person. I used to take my bicycle out and roam around the city. Every now and then my father used to get transferred, and I used to love roaming around the by-lanes and exploring the new city. I see the same curiosity in my child. In fact, I remember during my IIM days, in fact, most of my batchmates remember me as a Jigyasu kid. I was the part of the knowledge management cell there, and the name remained with me. And many of my COFP peers would also vouch for it. They've been at the receiving end of constant barrage of questions from me. So I see same curiosity in him, and it's such a wonderful experience to see a part of you actually kind of unfolding the way you were during your childhood days.
So let me go back to your education, Saurabh. So you said that you were in IIT Delhi and then predictably you went to IIM. What is so predictable about it? Why do engineers do an MBA immediately? Is the engineering not enough?
I'm glad you asked this question. I remember my father, my parents used to say, you have a choice to make. You can either be an engineer or a doctor. And I'm sure many of us could relate to it growing up during those times. I won't say that this experience of going to a business school wasn't worthy at all. I learnt a lot. I used to be a very one-dimensional person, extremely focused. This whole experience of going to the business school opened my perspective. I started understanding the world around me a little bit better. I understood why the businesses were run the way they were run. Banks, stock markets, all of them started making more sense. And the best part was that I kind of came across people from different educational backgrounds, from different walks of life. That really enriched the whole experience.
So Saurabh, is there a fun side in B School? There was a movie recently, Two States. I'm not sure if you've seen it. I haven't seen it, but from the promos it seems like people do have a lot of fun there, So is it true? Do you have fun as well, or it's all studies?
Incidentally, you mentioned Two States. The author of that novel was a senior alumni from where I studied. And his previous novel was about life at IIT. It used to be called as 5 Point Someone. And I think he kind of captures, both sides of, in fact, the entire life of living in a college. I remember when I kind of stepped out at a young age. This was my first experience, first real sense of how the world looks like, and that too in a hostel. It just kind of enriched the whole thing. We had some extremely competitive people, some of the best of the brains who from different parts of the country who had come in. It was quite a humbling experience, and you kind of expose your vulnerability when you live in a hostel-like setup. And the kind of bondings which you develop during those days remain with you for lifetime. So even now when I meet my batchmates, we just kind of go back to the old days, tease each other on the crushes we had, or the places. We like to revisit those places, hangout places where you used to have those college addas and things of that sort.
So were you the 5 point someone in IIT?
6 point someone actually. Not too better. I wasn't one of the the toppers over there. Not even the top quartile of the students. I'm not very proud of that. But at the same time, I think it was fun. As I said, I was exploring myself, far more. It was the first time I had stepped out, to a city like Delhi, which, as you can imagine, teaches you a lot. And I was exploring the world around me. A teenager, whatever things he would like to get attracted to, I used to get, and it was fun. And I think when I look back, I only have sweet memories about those times.
Let's now move ahead to your career. You mentioned that you've extensively worked in US and Europe, and now of course you've spent a couple of years in India as well. How does it compare? How are things different there as compared to India? So what are some of the things that are good in India, and what are some of the things that are worse?
It's a very interesting subject. I remember initial days. I used to be in this dual mode, comparing the work cultures in two countries. One of the things which I really liked about the Western world was the respect for time. So if the meeting is supposed to start at a certain time and conclude by a certain time, it will happen. So those who attend that will come prepared and will respect both your and their own time. Same goes for the personal life as well. People understand that you have life outside work, and you don't the sole objective in your life is not to work and work alone. There's more to it, and they give due respect to it. Having said that, in India also, there are some really good aspects which I thought, I would like to kind of throw light on. So one is, I think whenever the companies are going through, through cost pressures, cutting down employees, laying off would be the last avenue a company would explore. So they are far more considerate about not just you, but the entire family, which is dependent on your source of income. And secondly, I think there is a good support structure here. So if you are kind of falling behind, there will be people behind you to support you and make sure that you move forward with your work.
What was the thought of leaving your lucrative career in the West and coming back to India, and perhaps not even joining a corporate and starting something of your own? So where did that thought get triggered? Was it something which was there in your mind during your education years, or something which you came across in your career that there's a gap and there's some gap you can fill in, and that's where the thought of starting Finat work came into play?
I think it was, it was not just one reason. It was culmination of many things which were happening in my life. On my personal front, my parents were getting older, and I wanted to be close to them. Secondly, India is going through a very transformative stage, and there are some serious changes which are happening. I wanted to be part of that. I had always thought about starting on my own, but I wanted to gain some experience and build some savings before taking the plunge. So at some point of time, all of these kind of came together, and I thought this is the time and this is the stage of my life where I can make this move, and decided to pack my bags and come back to India.
Saurabh, I found a very interesting description of you on LinkedIn. You called yourself an entrepreneur and leveler. Entrepreneur, I understand. I tried to Google leveler just to see if I missed out something which is very obvious, but I couldn't figure out what it means. What does it mean?
It's a very interesting question. There was a book which came out a couple of years ago called The World is Flat. It was authored by Thomas Friedman, wherein he talks about different factors which are leveling the world. The geographical constraints are no longer there. For instance, internet is one of them. It's kind of making the playing field level for everyone. So I also consider myself as one of the factors. Someone who has seen and experienced and imbibed working in different parts of the world, and trying to bring those good practices back to India. So that's one of the reasons this leveler term comes from.
For someone who's starting out, maybe in their for a 16-year-old perhaps, what do you think is more important? One needs to decide a career first, or one needs to decide the education bit? So, and it's always confusing. I don't know what to do in life, and often my education would decide what is it I want to do in life. So what's your take on that? Should one be clear about this is what I want to do in life, or this is what I want to study?
I remember when I got my rank in IIT, the branch which I took was decided more by the rank which I got, and far lesser by the interest in which stream I had. And as I kind of touched upon earlier, my father, my parents also gave me that choice earlier, and I'm sure most of us growing up in those times would also vouch for. But things have changed. Things have changed significantly. Now one could express oneself in many ways and still make a good living out of it. So now I think there should not be any constraint on on becoming something else which you don't want to be, and acquire skills and education, whatever else is required for you to excel in that path. So now I for any young guy who would approach me, I would give the same advice. Decide upon the career path, decide upon how best you can express yourself. Everything else can follow.
Right, so we are financial planning professionals. What do you think about CFP as a profession? And for someone who wants to take up this course today, what kind of future or professional life can one expect?
I think financial planning as a profession, there has never been a doubt in terms of the size of this opportunity. As Indians, we save almost $550 billion every year, and it's only going to grow with time. So, and then people are getting busier, and then, there's an increased need for them, to someone, for someone who can assist them in making their financial decisions and help them successfully reach their financial goals. Having said that, I think the profession, for anyone who is trying to pursue a career in this space, one should not just stop at getting the CFP certificate. There's far more to it. One needs to put in time and effort, as well as develop additional skills including sales and marketing, and most importantly have the patience to wait it out and bear the fruits which this profession has to offer.
Great, I think we can live with that. So let me now try and bring out the lighter side of you. So what would I see Saurabh doing on a weekend? I hope not working.
As I said earlier, I am a very curious person. So you would find me driving out to some nearby places. And lately, it's my child who has been the biggest stress buster for me. So you would find me, playing with him and spending time. My wife and I, have this habit of trying out different kind of cuisines, and with the kind of restaurants which have opened up in Bangalore, we have plenty to explore every weekend.
So are you able to keep a work-life balance, or does work often take priority over your family life? Because that is something a lot of us struggle with. We want to give time to our family, we want to prioritize things relating to the family, but it's often work which takes precedence. So how is it in your case?
I think that's the advantage of being an entrepreneur. You have the flexibility and the authority to make decision upon how much time you want to spend at work and how much with your family. So for me personally, I think I'm able to spend far more time with my family now as compared to my corporate life, where I used to be on the move all the time. So I'm really happy I made this move and I could spend quality time with my family members.
Do you have a role model in your life? If you have someone, for what reason?
I really look up to Richard Branson. I like the flair and the difference with which he does everything. Be it taking a balloon and going around the world, to setting up Virgin Atlantic to take people to the moon. So that's something which really inspires me, and I really respect him for that.
So are you as flamboyant as him?
Tough one. I think people who know me could answer that better. But yes, I do like to do things differently. I don't know to what extent I've become successful in that. But as I said, I'm a very curious person. I like to explore things. I like to kind of do things differently.
Saurabh, what's your professional ambition? I'm sure you've achieved a lot, but where do you see yourself, let's say 10 years from now?
I would like to see Finetwork, achieve the size and scale, and not just in terms of number of clients or the asset under management, but being able to touch far more lives and make a difference. Also, I would like the company to, invest far more in technology, in research, and being able to attract, the best of talent. So in 10 years from now, I would want to see Finetwork being respected for its leadership in financial advisory space.
So, Saurabh, I'm sure you talk about financial planning with your clients all the time, and you discuss things like financial goals. If I were to ask you what are your 3 most important goals in life, whether financial or otherwise, what would those be?
It's actually 3: family, health, and the childlike curiosity in me. I mean, if as long as I'm able to preserve and continue to keep my focus on those 3, I'll be the happiest person on this planet.
Saurabh, I'm going to put to you the same question which I asked Vikas, that if you have a magic lamp and you scratch it and a genie pops out and grants you one wish, what would it be?
I wish such genie existed. If it does, I would like to pull those 10-year goals today. So, wherever I want to see Finetwork to reach, I would want to have it happen tomorrow.
I'm actually beginning to wonder if there's something wrong with our generation. We don't want bigger houses, we don't want bigger cars, and we keep planning for these things, with our clients. But when it comes to us, we are actually looking at some different things. Was that an honest answer?
It certainly was. I think I'm past that stage in life where I aspire to have a bigger house or a fancy car. I've come to a point where I've started realizing, what are the things which matter to me the most. And small goals, materialistic goals, whatever they are after all materialistic goals. You could only hope Genie could take care of it. Rest of it, I would want to preserve and enjoy every bit of it.
You almost sound like an enlightened being. So let me ask you, are you a religious person or are you spiritual?
Yeah, that's a very difficult question, and the line which kind of divides the two is something which has always evaded me. But to me, when I was growing up, my mother is a very religious lady, so she tried to ensure that I followed all those religious practices, which I understood some and most I never. But as I said, I mean, with time there is some bit of enlightenment, some bit of spirituality which automatically comes in, and I enjoy that peace, which comes along with it.
I perhaps call it wisdom. Okay, so let me simply put this question to you. Do you believe in God? Yes or no?
It looks like you would want to kind of put me in a difficult territory and still try to get a response out of it. As I said, I grew up in a very religious environment. So every morning I do my prayers and bow down in front of God. To me, God is something like a force which is beyond me, which is beyond people around me, which makes things happen. So not everything is in control of human being, and whatever is beyond it is what can be captured in the essence of God. So that is what it means really to me.
Thank you so much, Saurabh.
Thank you.
Welcome, Uday. Thanks for taking time out from your busy schedule. I've had the pleasure of working with you as a member of the council, and I have some impressions of you which I would like to share with you. So you come across as someone who's extremely enthusiastic, very approachable, and you have been at the forefront of a lot of initiatives at the council. So to me, you're someone of a go-getter. So I'm sure a lot of people know Uday Dhoot, the professional. Let's explore the personal side of Uday Dhoot today.
Sure.
Right? So let's start with you telling us a little bit about your family life, your educational background, maybe about your parents and siblings, if
Sure.
any.
So I was born and brought up in a place called Jorhat in Assam, and I'm the youngest in my family. So and that is how it remains still. So they still call me by my nickname, which I'm not going to say. And I have an elder brother and elder sister, so to that extent I had a fairly beautiful childhood. I enjoyed myself to the fullest. My father, my brother are both in business. My sister stays here in Bangalore, and I married 3 years back, and I have a lovely daughter and wife here. In terms of my education, like I said, my childhood, being the youngest, was not necessarily spoiled, but I really didn't bother about studies. I used to finish exam papers saying that, okay, I'll get pass marks, so let me just get out and go and play. So that's how I was. Until 12th, when things changed, and my brother said, who was studying in RV college here in Bangalore, saying that if you want to come to Bangalore, you better study well. So that was my 12th, and I sort of tried to study well so that I can get an admission in a good college here. And after that, I think it's changed quite a bit from an education perspective. I did my BBM here in Bangalore, and in the last 11 years that I've been working, I did CFP, I did CFA and CIPM. So that's about me.
So Uday, I'm sure you have very fond memories of your childhood. Is there any particular incident of your playful side, which you can share with us? And another question is that we have a lot of personality traits as a child, which we lose along the way once we become adults. So which of those have you dropped, and which are the ones you've managed to retain?
There are lots of memories as a child. Especially when you're growing up in a small place, you kind of pretty much know everyone in the society, and we have done some crazy things, jumping floors to throwing stones at people and God knows what all. So thing that I have retained from my childhood would definitely be my enthusiasm, and things that I have possibly given up on the way, and is I was very temperamental at one point in time. I don't see myself who now gets angry very fast, so that could be two things that I could kind of really think of.
I want to talk a little bit about your education. So you're also the first CIPM professional in India. How does it feel like?
So the way CFP happened for me is when I was working, and initially when I started working, I thought I'd be working for a couple of years, go for an MBA, and I saw there was not enough work for me to do, and I thought, let me take up something, and CFP is something which interested me, and I sort of ended up doing it. So I basically, when it comes to education, I have first seen, I like the curriculum, let me do it, and then I thought about the consequences of why I did what I did. It's an afterthought.
Can you share with us how your first job came about? If I'm not mistaken, your first job was International Money Matters and it still is. I would also want to know, typically for any working professional, 2 to 3 years is a lot of time to spend in a company, after which you start itching for a change. But you have been with the company for donkey's years, if I may call it so, and today you're the deputy CEO of the company. So why International Money Matters, and how did it come about?
So obviously there was not too much analysis that went into choosing the company. I'm glad that Loai was teaching investment planning in our final year of college. And I had two options. I had an option to go work for HP, which was a KPO kind of a job, and I had an option of working with Loai. And coming from a businessman family, I thought that I will work for maybe 2 years, and then I will maybe go for an MBA or do something of my own. So the whole concept of selecting the job was just that you were there at the right place at the right time with the right people. So looking at a job, I have seriously never looked at IMM as a job opportunity for me. Like I said, I keep repeating this, I come from a businessman family. So for me, it was my business from day one, and I'm glad that Loai gave us that opportunity to really do what we feel like doing, and which is why one has not actually counted years.
I really wish more people thought like you and more people had bosses like you. So Uday, I also read somewhere that you were the founder and partner at Integrity Financial Solution. Can you tell us something about that?
So like I said right at the beginning, I come from a place called Jorhat in Assam, and I have had an incident personally wherein a few years back a cousin of mine passed away in an accident, and he had an insurance of some 5 lakh rupees. And from there on, and I thought if I'm doing a good job, it is important for me to do it and reach out to more and more people. So there was an itching always to do something there, and I'm glad that International Money Matter supported me to do it. So I have some local partners. We do very similar kind of work. They are helping people take important financial decisions. And to add to the whole benefit is that I get to visit my home every second month, meet my friends, my brothers, family, relatives, all of them.
Tell me something about Uday the father. How are you as a father, and how has life changed after your child?
That's a difficult one, but I don't know. I think that relationship will develop over a period of time. Right now, I just enjoy playing with her. Ananya, that's my daughter, and maybe at times read to her and have fun with her. But really, I don't know. As a father, I think right now I'm just trying to understand that whole relationship, and that it's kind of growing into me.
So I asked this question to Saurabh as well, and I think it's very relevant for you. You also mentioned that you travel a lot. So how is the work-life balance? So is it a little time for your family and a lot of time for work, or it's an equal balance?
So you asked me a question regarding my relationship with my daughter at this point in time. I read something somewhere which said something like this, is that you get only one chance with your kids when they're growing up. There's no second chance with a kid who's growing up. So that kind of stayed with me. And to that extent, I think once she was born and possibly once I got married, I think I've become a more disciplined worker. Obviously, I've figured out there is more value to my time, and maybe more effective as well. So.
But I want to talk to you about our profession. You spent close to a decade now in the planning profession. What would be your advice to someone who wants to pursue CFP today? And what is your outlook for our profession going forward?
The outlook wise is very, very simple. I think money management business is here for very, very long. I think we are all, and this is the example that I keep giving to everyone, is that I have been in this profession 11 years and know a lot of people from my own fraternity. And the good part is that whenever we go and meet a new client, it's not that 3 of us are chasing the same guy, which means there is enough and more business for all of us. So to answer that question, I think the opportunity is definitely huge. The other question regarding what one should do, why one should do a CFP, or what one should look forward after doing a CFP, it kind of reminds me of what I heard, and that has sort of remained me for very long, is that there was a speech that Steve Jobs gave for one of the inauguration ceremonies of one of the colleges, and he said that you can connect the dots only backwards, you cannot connect them forward, and that sort of remains with me. And I'll share an example from my own side. Is when I did the CIPM program, I looked at the course and the program looked nice to me, and I did the program. After I finished the program, I realized that there may not be an actual opportunity to do something on this side. And I wrote to the institute, and the institute came back to me and asked me that would you mind writing some questions for the exam. And I started writing questions for the CIPM exam, and the thing is that I earned a lot more than I spent on the exam. But the point was, I never knew this would have been possible when I actually wrote the exam. So the way I would put it is that you can only connect it backwards. You can't know what is lying ahead of you. You got to do what you got to do.
So this leads me to my next question to you. That what is your professional ambition? So you've achieved a lot in the last 10-11 years that you have worked. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
I just read on Twitter, it says that success kills innovation and success kills your dreams. So I hope I remain uncomfortable. I hope I pursue more and more things in my life. I really don't have a 10-year goal or ambition. Because if somebody asked me 11 years back when I started working with Loy, would I be here, would I be doing this, I really didn't know. So I don't know what is going to be 10 years later. But I'm definitely looking forward to making sure that in this profession we do good things for our clients. We help them actually achieve financial goals and change the way people actually look at money. So that's what I would look at doing.
I'll buy that answer, although I find it a little ironical, when we sit with clients, we tell them that you need to look ahead and plan for things, so you should have a clear vision of where you want to be in terms of your financial goals, etc. So does that apply to us personally and professionally as well?
Yeah, it does apply to us as well, and the way I look at it, there are two parts to it, right? Like one is personal goals, what would you like to achieve, or where you come from. So I think a lot there kind of depends from the background that you come from. If you are coming from a place where you are comfortable financially, you don't think too much about financial goals, at least I don't think so much. But if you ask me, am I ensuring myself, am I reviewing myself that as my responsibilities in life have changed, I have done that. I do save quite a bit, but yes, obviously I don't have, okay, I need to do this. Thinking about it professionally, obviously yes, one has goals for the organization. There are 3-year plans for the organization that you're working for, and this is what we want to achieve, and we kind of keep reviewing those goals and plan as sort of time changes, environment changes. So we do have certain goals, and what we tell clients also is that none of these goals are fixed in stone. You make them so that you start. It's more like a direction that you get by putting together the goals. Once you get that direction, it's not that you can't change them. You can change them obviously and sort of remap them based on how your life sort of changes.
Great. So I'm going to take you a little bit away from work-related talk now. So what do you typically do on your weekends? Do you have any hobbies that you pursue? Is there any other side of Uday we don't know?
So weekends typically we end up working 2 Saturdays in a month, and 2 Saturdays is when we kind of get an off. So weekends typically at times would go for travel. Other times it is family, relatives, attending functions, and if I do get time, and if somebody would ask me what I would do if it were left to me, I would possibly read if it was only me, and if it is family around, I would play with my daughter.
So there's another thing I have noticed about you, that you are always smiling. I've not seen you flustered in any situation, which is a little difficult to come by, especially if you're young, right? So what is it that you are doing that helps you keep smiling in all situations? And I'm going to also ask you this question, which I asked Saurabh and perhaps stumped him, that what does God mean to you? So is there a spiritual side to you?
Why I smile? I think it makes me feel nice about myself. That's why I smile. And the way I have kept on always told this to myself is the smile actually comes from the stomach. So the whole feeling comes from here and it shows up on your face, kind of a thing. The bit about religious and spiritual, we all start with our families. That's where our first introduction to God kind of happens. And over a period of time, I've had a lot of influence there, at least. I am fine with whatever form God comes in, and maybe there is someone, but I really don't know the answer to it. But obviously there is something beyond us which is there, because there are so many incidents that I've seen in my own life, in my friends, relatives, that you can't really think a lot about planning. It is beyond planning. So I think there's a spiritual side to me, is what I would at least believe, and that answer to what is there, if I got that answer, I don't think so I would have been here.
That was wonderful indeed. So you spoke a little bit about planning, so let me put back that question to you, that as planners we are planning all the time, either for ourselves or for our clients. So if I were to ask you, what are the 3 most important goals in your life, what would they be?
So one biggest goal that I keep telling myself is that there is a lot of potential, and you need to do justice to that potential, and you need to be happy with yourself. So that is point number 1. If I'm happy with myself, I know I'll take care of everything else. So my biggest goal is to be happy with whatever I'm doing, and after that obviously it's family. When I talk about family, I worked 11 years at the same place. So as much as my own family from blood side is there, this is the other family which I have. So it's family and friends after that, and it's just about these 2 things. I'm thinking if I'm happy with what I'm doing and I have my family and friends around me, I would be like cool.
You come across as someone who's pretty sorted out in life. Do you have a role model?
Sorted out, I don't know. I think I'm trying to sort out. In terms of role models, I don't know if I have a role model per se, but I do have a lot of influencers. My father himself, who came up from pretty much scratch with nothing to do, I know for his own studies, he used to stand hours together in bazaars there and used to get some 4 or 8 a day, and that's how he used to make his livelihood and pay for his studies. So that obviously is a big sort of a benchmark, and I hope I ever cross that benchmark or touch that benchmark. I would have been successful. But apart from that, I think I read quite a lot, and so there are a lot of those influences that are there. So whether it is what Gandhi did or said, what J. Krishnamurti had written, what is written in the Gita, all those are definitely big influences of how I am thinking.
Uday, there's one question I asked Saurabh and Vikas, and it'll be unfair if I don't ask you the same question. So, if you have a magic lamp and a genie pops out of it and say, Uday, I grant you one wish, what will you ask for?
So I'm assuming that the limitations that were there for them are there for me as well, in terms of when I asked for that wish from the genie. Obviously I had time to think over it, but I don't think so my answer would have changed. So what I would really want is a library full of great books to read and maybe some nice movies to watch, and if the genie can grant me that, I would be a happy man.
That's actually multiple things. He would have granted you either just books or just movies. Anyways, it was wonderful talking to you, Uday, and thank you so much for taking time out and speaking to us. It was great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are we going to see the mother of all bull runs? Vikas?
So bull has been waiting, companies has been bleeding, and now that the kind of environment we are, so we have lots of optimism and a long way to go.
Sure. Saurabh?
Interesting question. I think the equity as an asset class has been underperforming for so many years now, 5 years continuously. And if you go by the mean reversion, obviously it has to eventually get into action again. I think we have started seeing the signs already. Last month or so has been extremely active, and we have seen that the valuations have started getting into the fair range. So I'm just hoping that it is the equity as an asset class is well supported by the macroeconomic action on the macroeconomic front as well.
Great. Uday?
It's a hard job trying to predict what future holds for us, and so having been here for 11 years, you know how many times you go wrong. So I really don't know whether it's the mother of all bull runs or the father of all bull runs. What I do know is that if you want to make money in the long run, you got to be in equities, and you need to have a balanced portfolio. One really does not know whether something will happen in the next 6 months. It can happen, and we all hope it happens, but really one needs to stick with the long-term plan.
Okay, so I'm going to now switch focus from stock markets to football, because that's the big thing today. I personally don't follow football that much, but I would want to know if you guys do it. So who are you rooting for this World Cup? I leave the answer open to any of you, whoever is a big football fan.
You can see a bit of redness in my eyes, and that's because of waking up till late yesterday night. I'm really impressed with the way Latin American teams have been performing. Some of the underdogs like Chile, Colombia and Costa Rica, the way they have performed, in addition to, of course, the big three from Latin America, which is Brazil, Uruguay and Argentina. A lot of polls, just like we had the politics, we've just come out of the poll season on the political front. There are a lot of polls which are predicting Brazil to win, but I'm always game for a surprise.
We all are members of Council of Financial Planners. So what is your vision for this organization, or what would you like this organization to be?
So I have been associated with COFP now almost 1 year. So other than my own experience, I am seeing, and that is one of the reason I am sitting together with Saurabh and Uday, because that is the platform where I got introduced to these guys, and this opportunity also coming to me because of COFP. So one thing, even without saying, I can say the kind of collaboration I'm getting on this particular platform. So on a monthly basis, I also had opportunity to present certain topics like investment policy statement, and the kind of praise and the kind of feedback I got from my members of COFP, that has been a very good experience for me. So we are learning from our experience, we are learning from experience of other members. Going forward, as a forum, we are looking forward to go to the other stakeholders, maybe investors, maybe putting our perspective in a more comprehensive manner to regulators or so many other things. So plans are there. As a forum, we have been very, very successful going so far, and wish the same going forward.
Saurabh?
I think the way this organization has shaped up, especially we have come in as a legal entity only a year back or so. It's really commendable that all of us are volunteers, and with the voluntary effort of each one of us, how far we have come. So it's been a great journey. Going forward, I would want to see COFP much more deeply involved with each and every financial professional in the country. Some kind of mutual dependency on both sides. I also see a lot of scope for us to be involved on the investor awareness front.
Uday, you are a part of the managing committee, so your vision would have a part in driving this organization forward. So what do you think?
I think the most important thing for us as we stand where we are is that last few years have been challenging years for all of us, and when times are challenging, what you really need is you need a shoulder to be there who will listen to you, who will understand you, and who will try and give you certain ideas. I think that is the biggest thing that I have got back from this group, is that you have a set of people who are facing similar challenges and showing you ways of dealing with them. So I think as we move ahead, we keep that spirit on of helping our fellow advisors to do a much better job with their clients and to do much better job with their own profession. So I'm saying if we just keep that vision in our minds, I'm sure we'll do great things. The future is definitely maybe 1.5 years back or 2 years back. We didn't know if I would be sitting here, you would be sitting there, or somebody else of us. So today we have a completely new definition to knowledge management as a team, and I'm sure we'll have new definitions for our annual events and other events as we move forward.
Let's get down to more fun stuff. So I have 5 or 6 questions in rapid fire. Okay, Saurabh. Favorite book?
The World is Flat.
Favorite movie?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Favorite actress?
Aishwarya Rai.
Favorite food?
Thai.
Favorite politician?
Narendra Modi.
Best friend?
My wife.
Favorite person in COFP?
Niti.
Okay, thank you, Saurabh. That was great. So Vikas, best friend?
Saurabh
Bansal?
Saurabh Bansal and Saurabh Singh.
Okay. Favorite book?
For economics.
Favorite food?
Rajasthani thali.
Favorite politician?
Now Narendra Modi.
Favorite movie?
51st Dates.
Favorite actress?
Now Shraddha Kapoor.
And favorite person in COFP?
Unity.
Okay, Uday, same set of questions. Favorite book?
The Holy Gita.
Favorite actress?
Audrey Hepburn.
Favorite movie?
Sholay.
Favorite politician?
I think Narendra Modi.
Favorite food?
Home food.
Best friend?
Many.
Favorite person in COFP?
Srini.
So great. Thank you so much again for your time, and I think we had a wonderful session. I enjoyed it a lot personally. I hope you did too, and I hope we can continue to do this in future with some of our other members as well. So thank you so much.